Cemeteries are often seen as eerie due to the reminder of our own mortality. Their quiet, isolated nature can create a sense of unease, particularly at night when the lack of light amplifies the stillness. Tonight, we will hear of 3 different encounters with cemeteries that left those involved with a newfound respect for the unknown and a collective new rule of not visiting a cemetery at night. I know it's a cliche, and walking through a cemetery at night is practically asking for something creepy to happen, but I wasn't trying to ghost hunt or do anything stupid. I was just taking a shortcut. There's this old cemetery near my neighborhood. Nothing famous, just a small, well-kept place with headstones, a big rusted iron gate, and those huge angel statues all over the place. I've walked past it a million times, but I've never actually gone through it. Until last week. I was coming home late after hanging out at a friend's place, and I didn't feel like taking the long way around. The cemetery cuts through 2 streets, and I figured I'd shave off a few minutes by cutting through. Bad idea. It was dead silent, no pun intended. No wind, no bugs, no usual nighttime sounds, just me and the crunch of leaves under my feet. About halfway through, I started feeling weird, like something was watching me. I tried to ignore it and kept walking. Then I heard footsteps. Not mine though. It was like an echo of mine, like when you're walking with someone and there's a rhythm. I stopped. The sound kept going for half a second before stopping, too. I turned around, expecting to see another night owl cutting through, but nothing. There was no one, just rows of graves dimly lit by the streetlights outside the gate. At this point, my brain was doing the usual rationalizing. Probably an echo, maybe a small animal, maybe I was just tired. So I kept moving, a little faster this time. And then, I heard it again. This time, I spun around so fast I nearly tripped. Still, nothing was there. But then, I swear on everything in me, I saw something shift behind one of the headstones. Not a person. Something low, dark, just barely moving in the shadows. My chest went tight, and every instinct screamed for me to leave. I turned and walked as fast as I could without full-on sprinting. The gate was in sight, maybe 30 feet away, and that's when I heard it. A whisper, right next to my ear. It wasn't words, just a sharp, raspy inhale. I ran. I didn't stop until I was out of the cemetery and halfway down the block. Only then did I turn around. The cemetery was still, empty, nothing there. But as I caught my breath, I felt the same heaviness pressing on my chest, like I hadn't really left whatever was in there behind. It's been a week, and I still don't feel right. My apartment feels off. I keep waking up at 3 a.m. for no reason at all. My TV turned on by itself twice. I don't know if I brought something back with me, but I do know one thing. I'll never take that shortcut again. I know this sounds like a bad horror movie setup, but I swear this actually happened. So, I'm rushing for this sorority, not gonna say which one for obvious reasons. And one of the initiation theirs was to spend the night in the old cemetery on the edge of town, alone. The only rule, I had to bring back proof that I wasn't just hiding out in my car all night. I was nervous, but figured it'd be fine. I mean, it's just a cemetery, right? The girls even gave me a flashlight, a disposable camera, and a little sleeping bag. I just had to last until sunrise and snap a few pictures to prove I stuck it out. I got there around midnight. The cemetery was old, like really old, and full of moss-covered headstones and these creepy angel statues that looked like they were judging me for my life choices. The second I stepped in, my stomach dropped. It all felt wrong. The air was thick, heavy, and way too still. But I told myself it was just nerves and set up near this big tree in the middle. For the first hour, nothing happened. I took a few pictures, texted my friends to keep myself distracted, and tried to pretend I wasn't actually scared. Then, at around 1:30 a.m., things got weird. It started out with whispers, too low to make out, but definitely there. At first, I thought it was just the wind, but then I realized it wasn't coming from one direction. It was coming from all around me. I told myself it was just my imagination and decided to take a few more pictures, thinking maybe my camera would catch something my eyes couldn't. And that's when I saw it. In the distance, between two headstones, was a figure, just standing there. It wasn't moving, but I could feel it looking at me. I froze and gripped my flashlight like it was a weapon. I tried to convince myself it was just a weird-shaped statue. But then it shifted. It looked like it glided an inch closer without actually moving its legs. I noped out so fast. I grabbed my stuff, snapped one last shaky picture, because proof, right? And speed walked to the gate, trying not to look behind me. I don't even remember unlocking my car door, just that I got in and floored it. The whole way home, I felt like someone was in the back seat with me, but I was too scared to check. When I got back to my apartment, I locked every window and door and pulled out the camera to look at the pictures. Most of them were just blurry shots of graves and trees, but the last one, it wasn't just a shadowy figure anymore. It was closer, and the face was smudged, wrong, like it had been distorted on purpose. I barely slept that night, and honestly, I don't think I've had a good night's sleep since. My closet door keeps creaking open on its own. My TV turns on by itself, and sometimes, when I'm falling asleep, I hear that same whispering. The worst part? I never turned in the pictures. I told the girls I was too freaked out and left early, so I failed the dare. I figured it was safer that way. But now, I don't think whatever I saw cares, because I think it followed me home. I've never really been someone who believes in the paranormal. Sure, I've heard stories, but they've always been just that, stories. But after what happened last night, I don't know what to think anymore. My wife passed away 2 years ago, and I visit her grave regularly. Usually, I go during the day, but yesterday was her birthday and I couldn't make it until after work. By the time I arrived at the cemetery, the sun had already set, and a light drizzle had started. The place was empty, with an eerie quietness that was anything but comforting. I parked near the entrance and walked to her grave, carrying a small bouquet of her favorite flowers. As I set them down, I whispered a few words, updated her on life, just like I always do, and that's when I heard footsteps on the gravel behind me. I turned quickly, expecting to see another visitor, but there was no one there, just the stillness of the cemetery and the faint rustling of the trees. The footsteps had been so clear, so deliberate. I told myself it was just my imagination and turned back to her grave. Then I felt it, a cold breath against my neck. I froze. My mind scrambled for a rational explanation. The wind, I told myself. Just the wind. But I knew better. It wasn't windy, and the air was completely still except for the drizzle. My heart started pounding as I slowly stood up. I didn't dare turn around. Instead, I whispered, "I love you," and started walking back to my car. The gravel crunched under my feet, but beneath that sound, I heard it again. Another set of footsteps, mirroring mine. I stopped. So did they. I started walking again. So did they. My breathing became shallow. I was only a few feet from my car now. I could see it, parked just under the dim glow of a lamplight. I picked up my pace, and so did whatever was behind me. I didn't look back. I yanked my car door open, jumped inside, and locked it immediately. My hands were shaking as I fumbled to start the engine. I looked up, and in the reflection of the rearview mirror, I saw a shadow standing just behind my car, barely illuminated by the light. It was tall, featureless, and absolutely still. The engine roared to life, and as soon as I hit the gas, the figure vanished. I have no idea what I saw last night, and I don't think I ever want to find out. But one thing is certain, I won't be visiting my wife's grave after dark. Ever. Again. So, what do you guys think? Have you ever had a creepy, unexplained encounter in a cemetery? If you have, what did you do? How did you react? Let me know down in the comments about that experience. I'd like to hear about it. Anyway, see you soon.